Have you ever reached for a piece of fruit, believing it was doing your body good, only to discover later it might actually be harming your health? What if some fruits you thought were nature's medicine were silently working against you, especially if you're over 60? And most importantly, could changing just one habit protect your heart, kidneys, or blood sugar starting today? If you're a senior who enjoys fruit as part of your daily diet, this may come as a surprise, but you're not alone. Many older adults eat certain fruits thinking they're making healthy choices, without realizing some of them may quietly contribute to serious issues like blood sugar spikes, kidney strain, or heart complications. And often, the warning signs don't appear until the damage has already started. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 6 common fruits that doctors are increasingly concerned about, especially for those living with diabetes, kidney problems, or cardiovascular conditions. But don't worry, this isn't a fear-driven message. I'll also share how you can still enjoy fruits safely, without putting your health at unnecessary risk. So please stay with me until the end, because what you learn today could very well help you avoid serious health setbacks, maintain your energy levels, and feel stronger in the years to come. Sometimes, it's the smallest changes in our daily habits, like what we put on our plate, that create the biggest difference in how we age. Before we begin, I'd be truly grateful if you'd take a second to like this video. It helps us reach more seniors with important health insights. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a video from the Healthy Aging Blueprint. Now, if you're ready, let's dive into the first fruit on our list: starfruit. At first glance, starfruit is a visual delight. Its golden yellow color and star-shaped slices make it look like the perfect tropical treat, refreshing, light, and fun to eat. It's the kind of fruit that catches your eye at the farmer's market or in the exotic produce section, and you might think, why not give this a try? For many people, starfruit seems like a healthy indulgence. But is it really? Starfruit may seem like an adventurous and refreshing option. It's low in calories, loaded with vitamin C, and brimming with antioxidants. What could possibly go wrong? On the surface, it looks like the perfect fruit, especially for someone trying to eat cleaner and boost their immune system. But for seniors, especially those dealing with kidney issues, this tropical gem could hide a serious and silent threat. The culprit is a little-known substance called caramboxin, a natural toxin found in starfruit. Now, in younger individuals with healthy kidney function, this compound is usually flushed out of the system quickly. The kidneys act like expert gatekeepers, filtering caramboxin without issue. No symptoms, no side effects, just business as usual for the body. But aging brings changes. Over time, our kidneys don't work with the same efficiency. The filter slows down. And for older adults, especially those with existing kidney strain, this becomes a real concern. Caramboxin starts to linger longer in the bloodstream instead of being eliminated. It slowly builds up, and before long, it can cause a cascade of complications that most seniors wouldn't see coming. Let me share a story that underscores just how real this danger can be. John, a 72-year-old retired school teacher from Tampa, Florida, had always been someone who took his health seriously. He walked every day, drank plenty of water, and took pride in maintaining a diet rich in fresh produce. One morning at his local market, he came across a display of starfruit, bright, golden, and enticing. It looked like the perfect way to shake up his breakfast routine. Intrigued, John started adding slices to his smoothies. He loved the vibrant taste and felt good about trying something new. For a few days, everything seemed perfectly normal. But gradually, subtle changes began to creep in. He noticed a strange lightheadedness when standing up, just a slight imbalance at first. Then the mental fog rolled in. He'd walk into a room and completely forget what he came for. Small details slipped from his memory. and simple tasks started to feel confusing. Something was clearly off. John began to struggle with words during simple conversations. At first, he brushed it off, assuming it was just a long day or perhaps dehydration. But as the week went on, things grew worse. A wave of fatigue hit him harder than ever before. He wasn't just tired, he was utterly drained, barely able to manage his regular tasks around the house. It was as if his energy had been quietly stolen overnight. Then came the morning that changed everything. John woke up, looked at the calendar on the wall, and couldn't figure out what day it was. His confusion was clear and unsettling. Concerned and frightened, his family rushed him to the emergency room. What followed was a whirlwind: urgent tests, blood panels, brain scans, and an in-depth review of his recent habits. The diagnosis was unexpected. Doctors traced it back to starfruit toxicity. Unbeknownst to John, he had been living with mild kidney disease, something he had never been told about, never felt, and never suspected. His kidneys had slowly weakened over the years, and though they still functioned, they weren't strong enough to filter out the caramboxin building up in his bloodstream. That silent accumulation had begun to affect his nervous system, explaining the mental fog, dizziness, and crushing fatigue. This isn't just John's story. It's a wake-up call. Starfruit may look harmless, even healthy, but for seniors with reduced kidney function, it can be dangerously deceptive. And John isn't alone. His experience mirrors a growing concern within the medical community. In fact, the National Kidney Foundation has officially issued warnings about starfruit, particularly for older adults. Even small portions, a few slices or a single fruit, can cause serious harm if kidney function is compromised. Here's the reality that makes this so concerning. According to the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases, 1 in 3 adults over age 65 is living with some form of chronic kidney disease. The more startling part? Many have no idea. Kidney decline can creep in silently, without obvious symptoms, making a fruit like starfruit a hidden danger rather than a harmless snack. So even if you feel perfectly fine and assume your kidneys are working just as they always have, that assumption could be wrong. And eating starfruit under those conditions? That becomes a risky gamble, one that seniors simply can't afford to take. It's just not a risk worth taking, especially when the consequences can be so severe. Let's take a closer look at how starfruit actually affects the body once caramboxin, that dangerous compound, begins to accumulate. This isn't just an ordinary fruit toxin. Caramboxin is a neurotoxin, meaning it goes straight for your nervous system, disrupting the way your brain and body communicate. So, what does that look like? It often starts subtly. Dizziness and confusion are usually the first warning signs. The toxin interferes with the brain's normal signaling, leaving you feeling lightheaded, disoriented, or like you're walking through a fog. It's that strange sensation when you know something's off, but you can't quite put your finger on it. Then comes the severe fatigue. And we're not talking about being a little tired. We're talking about a deep, bone-weary exhaustion that drains you of the energy to perform even the simplest daily tasks. Your body is fighting to stay balanced while the toxin lingers, making everyday life feel like a burden. Next, memory problems may creep in, much like what John experienced. You start forgetting little things, what day it is, why you walked into a room, where you placed your keys. It's unsettling, and it often gets worse before it gets better, if it gets better at all. In more serious cases, caramboxin doesn't just blur your thinking, it can overstimulate the nervous system so severely that it leads to seizures. And if the buildup continues unchecked, coma becomes a frightening possibility. Yes, documented medical cases confirm that starfruit poisoning can escalate to such extremes, but the neurological effects are only part of the picture. Let's not forget the impact on your kidneys, which are already under pressure as you age. When your kidneys aren't filtering properly, caramboxin doesn't just hang out quietly in the bloodstream, it becomes actively harmful. Studies, including those published in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology, have shown that starfruit can even cause acute kidney injury, turning a manageable condition into a medical emergency. So then, why do so many seniors still reach for starfruit, unaware of the danger? The answer is simple. It's deceptively appealing. With its exotic star shape, tropical flavor, and bright yellow color, it looks like a fun, healthy treat. It's the kind of fruit you imagine serving at a brunch, slicing up into a salad, or dropping into a smoothie. Compared to apples or bananas, it feels more special, more adventurous. But that visual appeal masks a very real danger, one that many don't learn about until it's too late. It's no wonder so many older adults are drawn to starfruit. After all, it's often marketed as a superfood, packed with vitamin C, dietary fiber, and powerful antioxidants. On the surface, it seems like the perfect addition to a healthy, balanced diet, especially for seniors trying to boost immunity or improve digestion. The labels sound promising, don't they? But here's the danger. For those living with even mild kidney issues, starfruit is not a healthy choice. It's more like a wolf in sheep's clothing. What appears to be a nutritious snack may be silently harming your body from the inside out. That's why awareness is so important. Now, the good news? You don't have to give up the vibrant, tropical flavors you enjoy just to protect your health. There are plenty of kidney-friendly fruits that still deliver that exotic flair without putting your body at risk. Let's explore a few smart swaps. Asian pears are a fantastic alternative. Crisp, juicy, and slightly sweet, they offer a refreshing texture similar to starfruit, only without the toxic compound. Plus, they're rich in fiber and vitamin C, which are great for digestion and immunity. Dragon fruit is another excellent option. With its eye-catching pink skin and speckled interior, it brings all the visual appeal of starfruit. And it's completely safe. Packed with antioxidants and gentle on the kidneys, it's a standout choice for seniors. Mangoes offer that rich, luscious sweetness many people crave. Bursting with vitamins and tropical flavor, mangoes are not only safe, but also bring a sense of indulgence to your fruit bowl or smoothie without the hidden risks. And then there's papaya, which delivers a buttery smooth texture and a healthy dose of vitamins A and C. It's gentle on your system and easy to digest, perfect for older adults looking for a satisfying snack or breakfast topping. Each of these fruits brings something unique to the table, yet all share one thing in common. They let you savor tropical goodness without putting your kidneys or your overall health at risk. Isn't that what food should be? So, what's the bottom line? Food should nourish and uplift, not leave you guessing about its safety. Starfruit might dazzle you with its exotic look and promise of nutrition, but if you're over 65, especially with known or undiagnosed kidney issues, it's simply not worth the risk. The chances of experiencing symptoms like dizziness, confusion, or even seizures far outweigh any supposed benefits. The next time you pass by starfruit in the produce aisle, pause and think twice. Leave it on the shelf, and instead reach for one of these safer, equally delicious alternatives. You'll still enjoy your food, but this time, with peace of mind. Choosing a safer fruit alternative might seem like a small decision, but for your kidneys and nervous system, it can feel like a breath of fresh air. If you're still with me and finding these insights helpful, feel free to comment the number 1 below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so, and turn on the bell notification. Your support means a great deal and helps us continue delivering trustworthy, life-changing content to keep you informed and empowered. Now, let's move on to the second fruit on our list, one that's probably sitting in your kitchen right now. Let's talk about grapes, those sweet, bite-sized bursts of flavor that have become a staple in nearly every household. Whether they're tossed into lunchboxes, arranged neatly in a fruit bowl, or grabbed on the go as a refreshing snack, grapes are widely considered a healthy option. With their glossy skin and juicy pop, they've even earned the nickname nature's candy. But here's the twist. For seniors, these seemingly innocent fruits come with 2 hidden health hazards that often go unnoticed, until it's too late. First,
grapes can cause sudden blood sugar spikes. And second, they carry a surprisingly high choking risk. Yes, even for adults. You might be thinking, how can something so small and natural be a problem? They're not coated in sugar, they're not processed, and they certainly don't look dangerous. But as we age, our bodies respond differently to foods that once seemed perfectly harmless. Let's start with the sugar surprise hidden inside grapes. A single cup, roughly 150 grams, or what you'd scoop up in a generous handful, packs around 23 grams of natural sugar. To put that into perspective, that's roughly the same sugar content as 4 sugar cubes. Now, think about how easily we can eat more than a cup without realizing it, especially when we're watching TV, chatting with friends, or preparing meals. For seniors managing diabetes, insulin resistance, or simply trying to stabilize energy levels throughout the day, that much sugar in one sitting can lead to sharp blood glucose spikes, followed by energy crashes or dizziness. Not only does this disrupt your body's balance, but over time, it can increase the risk of cardiovascular issues, cognitive fog, and fatigue. That's right, just one small cup of grapes can contain as much sugar as a small candy bar. Sure, it's natural sugar, not the kind you'd find in a frosted donut or sugary soda. But let's be clear, natural doesn't always mean harmless, especially for seniors with diabetes, pre-diabetes, or even a family history of blood sugar issues. This healthy snack could be anything but. As we age, our bodies undergo changes that make sugar management more challenging. Our metabolism naturally slows, our insulin sensitivity can decline, and the pancreas may no longer produce insulin as efficiently. This combination creates the perfect storm for even moderate amounts of natural sugar to overwhelm the system. So what happens when grapes hit your bloodstream? For many older adults, it's like a sugar freight train, fast and intense. You might feel a short-lived burst of energy, followed by a crash that leaves you drained, foggy-headed, or even irritable. And when this pattern repeats day after day, it doesn't just affect your mood. Over time, these sugar spikes can strain your cardiovascular system, aggravate diabetes complications, and quietly contribute to stubborn weight gain, especially around the waistline. Let's take a real-world example. Patricia, a 68-year-old retired teacher from Chicago. Patricia had always considered herself health-conscious. She exercised regularly, stayed hydrated, and made an effort to cut down on processed snacks. After a routine checkup revealed that her blood sugar was creeping up, she made what she thought was a smart change, replacing her afternoon cookies with a small bowl of red seedless grapes. "It's fruit," she thought. "It must be better for me." And honestly, who could blame her? It felt like a virtuous choice, like she was doing the right thing for her health. But just a few weeks later, Patricia began noticing some subtle shifts. She felt inexplicably tired, even after a full night's rest. Her vision would blur slightly by late afternoon, and she often felt sluggish after eating. These weren't symptoms she was used to. Concerned, she dusted off her old blood sugar monitor, the same one she'd used back when she was first warned about pre-diabetes. After one of her usual grape-filled snacks, she took a reading. The result? 180 mmol, 180 milligrams per deciliter. That was Patricia's reading, far higher than her usual range of 100 to 120. She stared at the number, stunned. Confused and a little disheartened, she scheduled an appointment with her doctor right away. "I really thought I was making a healthy choice," she explained during her visit, her voice carrying that familiar mix of frustration and disbelief. Her doctor listened carefully, then asked her to walk through her recent diet changes. It didn't take long before he spotted the issue: those harmless-looking red grapes. Even though Patricia had successfully eliminated cookies and processed treats, the natural sugar in grapes had taken their place, and with an equally powerful effect on her blood sugar. And this isn't just anecdotal. Research from Harvard Medical School confirms that grapes have a surprisingly high glycemic index. This means they raise your blood sugar quickly, sometimes even faster than some processed foods like whole grain bread. And here's the catch. For seniors whose bodies can no longer regulate sugar levels as effectively, this natural snack becomes a silent disruptor. What seems innocent at first glance can quietly sabotage your energy, clarity, and long-term health. But the danger doesn't stop at blood sugar. There's another risk that's even more overlooked: choking. Now, you might be thinking, choking? On grapes? But let's break it down. As we get older, our swallowing reflexes naturally decline. The muscles in the throat don't work in perfect sync like they used to. Your gag reflex might not respond as quickly, and the coordination between chewing and swallowing can falter, especially if you're distracted or rushing through a snack. And here's the problem. Grapes are the perfect shape and size to become a choking hazard. They're small, smooth, and round, easy to swallow accidentally, and hard to dislodge once they slip into the wrong pipe. Their slippery skin only makes things worse, especially if you haven't taken the time to chew them properly. The statistics are sobering. According to the National Safety Council, choking incidents involving grapes among older adults have risen by over 30% in the past 5 years. So why the increase? Part of it has to do with greater awareness. More cases are being reported now than before. But there's also a behavioral shift. More and more seniors are eating grapes without ever realizing the risk they carry. A healthy-looking snack, yes, but one that deserves a second look. Now imagine this. You're sitting on the couch, watching your favorite TV show, absent-mindedly popping grapes into your mouth. One slips down before you've had a chance to chew it properly. For someone younger, a quick cough might be enough to clear the airway. But for an older adult, that tiny grape could turn a peaceful evening into a life-threatening emergency within seconds. So, does this mean you need to swear off grapes for good? Not necessarily. If you love them, there's no need to exile them from your fridge entirely. But it's essential to eat them more thoughtfully. With a few small adjustments, you can still enjoy this fruit without putting your health at risk. First, cut them up. Take the time to slice each grape into quarters before eating. This one simple habit drastically reduces the risk of choking by making the pieces too small to block your airway. It also naturally slows down how quickly you eat, which is a bonus, because slower eating gives your body more time to manage the sugar you're consuming. Second, pair them wisely. Instead of eating grapes on their own, try combining them with a protein or healthy fat, like a cube of cheddar or a small handful of almonds. This pairing works wonders. It helps stabilize blood sugar levels by slowing the absorption of sugar, preventing those unpleasant spikes and crashes that can leave you feeling wiped out. And third, practice portion control. Aim to limit yourself to just 6 small grapes at a time, about half a cup. It might not seem like much, but it's often just enough to curb a craving without overwhelming your system. Remember, with fruit, more isn't always better. If you're open to exploring alternatives, there are plenty of safer, senior-friendly fruits that can still satisfy your sweet tooth without the worry. Fresh berries like strawberries and blueberries are a fantastic choice. They're lower in sugar, full of antioxidants, and much easier to chew and swallow. Or consider melons like cantaloupe, honeydew, or watermelon. When cut into small, manageable chunks, they're not only hydrating and refreshing, but also pose a much lower risk of choking or sugar overload. The takeaway? Grapes may appear to be nature's perfect snack, cute, sweet, and bite-sized. But for seniors, they come with hidden hazards that can't be ignored. Whether it's the blood sugar spikes that creep up silently or the very real choking risk that could take you by surprise, this fruit is a classic example of why we must approach even the healthiest foods with awareness and care. They may look innocent sitting in a bowl on your kitchen counter, but grapes can quickly turn from a sweet treat into a serious choking hazard. Fortunately, by being mindful, slicing them up, pairing them wisely, and limiting your portion, you can still enjoy them without putting your well-being at risk. Remember, Safeguarding your health doesn't mean giving up the simple pleasures in life. It just means learning how to enjoy them safely, with a little extra thought and care. If you've made it this far and are finding this information helpful, please comment the number 2 below to let me know you're here with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to hit that button and turn on the bell so you won't miss any future health insights. Your support helps us continue creating quality content to inform and inspire. Now let's shift gears and talk about another fruit that's practically a symbol of health, yet it might be doing more harm than good for older adults. Number 3 on our list: oranges. Yes, oranges. The classic go-to for vitamin C, immune support, and morning refreshment. They're juicy, vibrant, and refreshing, often associated with breakfast or a midday pick-me-up. On the surface, they seem like a perfect addition to any healthy diet. But here's something many don't realize. For seniors, oranges can come with some unexpected drawbacks that deserve a closer look. You see, as we age, our bodies don't process acidic foods the way they used to. And that sweet, tangy citrus juice? It can stir up trouble, particularly for those who struggle with acid reflux. Have you ever experienced a burning sensation in your chest after drinking orange juice or eating a few slices? That's not just indigestion. It could be gastroesophageal reflux disease, or GERD, a condition where stomach acid backs up into the esophagus. And GERD isn't rare. In fact, studies show that over 60% of seniors experience some form of acid reflux. What used to be a harmless glass of OJ at breakfast might now lead to hours of discomfort, bloating, or heartburn. If you've ever found yourself avoiding certain foods after breakfast or sleeping propped up at night just to reduce the burn, citrus might be part of the problem. But acid reflux isn't the only concern when it comes to oranges. Let's take a closer look at what else might be going on in the next part. According to the GERD Foundation, more than 60% of older adults experience acid reflux symptoms on a regular basis. And guess what? Oranges, along with other citrus fruits, are some of the biggest culprits behind this discomfort. Their high acidity makes them one of the top triggers for reflux, and the symptoms can be more than just a mild annoyance. We're talking about burning heartburn that seems to sit in your chest for hours, creeping up after what you thought was a healthy breakfast, a sore or irritated throat that doesn't go away, often mistaken for allergies or even a cold. And for many seniors, this condition shows up most at night, disrupting sleep with that familiar pressure in the chest or bitter taste in the back of the throat. Over time, it becomes a frustrating, exhausting cycle, and the orange on your breakfast plate might be the source. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 73-year-old retiree from Minnesota. For years, she battled frequent heartburn and assumed it was just part of growing older. Like many, she turned to over-the-counter remedies, antacids, pills, anything she could find. But nothing gave her lasting relief. It wasn't until her doctor suggested eliminating oranges that the truth became clear. Within days of removing them from her routine, the improvement was unmistakable. No more nighttime reflux, no more discomfort. Just quiet, peaceful digestion. Margaret's story is not unusual. It's a reminder that even seemingly healthy habits, like having a glass of orange juice every morning, can have unintended consequences, especially for older adults. So, if you've been dealing with unexplained bloating, frequent burping, or that constant burning in your chest, maybe it's time to take a second look at that morning orange. But the surprises don't end there. Oranges can also interfere with certain medications, a concern that isn't talked about nearly enough. Beyond digestive discomfort, there's a more hidden but equally serious risk: how oranges affect your prescriptions. Many seniors rely on daily medications for high blood pressure, cholesterol, depression, and other chronic conditions. But what if I told you that your fruit bowl could be undermining those treatments without you even knowing? According to research from the Mayo Clinic, citrus fruits like oranges contain natural compounds that block enzymes responsible for metabolizing many common medications. The result? Your body can't process the drugs effectively, They may stay in your system longer than they should, or even worse, become less effective altogether. Over 50 common medications, yes, more than 50, can be affected this way. That means the very fruit you're eating to stay healthy could be quietly reducing the effectiveness of the pills you rely on every day. Isn't it worth paying closer attention to? As a result, the medications you rely on each day might not be doing their job. Instead of working effectively to manage your condition, their impact could be weakened, leaving your health vulnerable. Imagine this. You've been faithfully taking your blood pressure medication every morning, assuming it's keeping your numbers where they should be. But what if your daily glass of orange juice was quietly interfering with that pill's ability to work? That's exactly what's happening for many seniors who simply aren't aware of this hidden interaction. Let's look at a few specific examples. Common blood pressure medications like atenolol and felodipine are known to interact poorly with citrus. Statins, such as simvastatin, widely prescribed to lower cholesterol, can also be affected. And it doesn't stop there. Even antidepressants like sertraline, which help manage mood and emotional well-being, can lose effectiveness if taken alongside certain citrus fruits. When medications you depend on are compromised in this way, the consequences can be serious, ranging from unregulated blood pressure to increased risk of heart complications or mental health fluctuations. That's why it's so important for older adults to speak with their doctor or pharmacist about potential food interactions. It might seem like a small detail, but understanding how even a single orange can impact your medication could make a meaningful difference in your overall health. And while we're still on the topic of oranges, there's another issue that often slips under the radar, one that's particularly relevant for seniors: dental damage. Over the years, our teeth naturally become more vulnerable. The enamel, that strong outer layer protecting your teeth, gradually wears down with age. Unfortunately, oranges, like many citrus fruits, are high in acid. This acidity can accelerate enamel erosion, leaving your teeth defenseless. What does that mean in daily life? You might notice increased sensitivity when you sip a hot coffee or bite into ice cream. Sweet foods may trigger sudden zings of pain, and when enamel is compromised, cavities have an easier time taking hold. It doesn't end there. Acidic foods can also irritate your gums, leading to inflammation, tenderness, or bleeding, especially if you already have gum disease or a history of dental issues. But here's the good news. There are simple ways to reduce the risk without completely cutting citrus from your life. For example, try drinking a glass of water immediately after eating an orange to help rinse away acid. Or, if you enjoy orange juice, use a straw to limit direct contact with your teeth. Still, for those with thinning enamel or ongoing dental concerns, the safest route is to reduce or avoid acidic fruits altogether. Protecting your heart, your medications, and even your smile starts with awareness. And sometimes that begins by rethinking what we've long believed to be healthy. Would you like me to continue with the next part of the script? Worried that cutting out oranges might leave you short on vitamin C? Don't be. The truth is, you don't need citrus fruits to meet your daily requirement. There are plenty of gentler, more senior-friendly alternatives that offer the same immune-boosting power, without the acidity, the medication conflicts, or the dental concerns. Let's start with bell peppers. Believe it or not, these colorful veggies actually contain more vitamin C per serving than oranges. And unlike citrus, they're much lower in acid. Whether you prefer them raw, roasted, or lightly sautéed, bell peppers make a perfect addition to salads, stir-fries, or even as a crunchy snack. Then there's kiwi, a sweet and tangy little fruit that often gets overlooked. Packed with nutrients, kiwis deliver a strong punch of vitamin C without overwhelming your stomach. Plus, their natural enzymes are easier on digestion, making them a smart choice for older adults who want nutrition without discomfort. Strawberries are another excellent option. They're low in acid, full of antioxidants, and simple to incorporate into your meals. Add them to your morning oatmeal, blend them into a smoothie, or enjoy a handful on their own. Their versatility and mild nature make them ideal for sensitive systems. Don't forget the power of vegetables, either. Broccoli and Brussels sprouts are nutrient-dense choices that provide vitamin C along with fiber and other essential compounds. They're easy to prepare, kind to your stomach, and fit beautifully into any balanced diet. Now, if you truly can't imagine life without oranges, the good news is you don't have to cut them out entirely. You just need to approach them more thoughtfully. With a few simple adjustments, you can reduce the risks and still enjoy that familiar citrus flavor. First, pay attention to timing. Try eating oranges in the middle of the day instead of first thing in the morning or right before bed. This helps lessen the impact on your digestive system, which tends to be more sensitive during those times. Next, be mindful of your medication schedule. Wait at least 2 hours after taking your prescriptions before consuming oranges or other citrus fruits. This delay helps ensure your body can absorb your medication properly without interference from the compounds found in citrus. Another smart move? Dilute your juice. Mixing orange juice with an equal part of water cuts down on acidity, making it gentler on both your stomach and your teeth. Lastly, try balancing the acidity with alkaline foods. Pairing oranges with something like a banana or slices of avocado can help neutralize some of the acid, offering a more balanced effect on your system. Of course, while these tips can reduce the impact, they don't erase the risks entirely. For seniors, especially those dealing with acid reflux, medication sensitivities, or dental concerns, being cautious with citrus is still the safest route. Would you like me to continue with the next fruit in the script? When it comes to dental concerns, steering clear of oranges altogether might just be the wisest decision for many older adults. The bottom line is this: oranges may wear the mask of a health hero, with their bright color, juicy sweetness, and reputation for being loaded with vitamin C. But for seniors, they can quietly act as a health saboteur, from triggering uncomfortable acid reflux to blocking the effectiveness of medications and gradually wearing down your enamel. The downsides can often outweigh the benefits as we age. These aren't just minor inconveniences. They're risks that could chip away at your quality of life over time. That's why it's so important to stay informed and choose foods that truly align with your needs in your golden years. There's no shame in swapping an orange for a slice of bell pepper or a few pieces of kiwi. These small changes can make a big impact on how you feel day to day, offering you the same nutritional boost without all the hidden drawbacks. So the next time your hand reaches for an orange at breakfast, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, am I eating this because it's healthy for me now, or because it once was? Maybe that bell pepper or kiwi is a smarter choice for this stage of life. If you're still watching and learning something new, go ahead and drop a number 3 in the comments. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell so you'll never miss an update. Your support means the world. It helps us continue creating the kind of health content that empowers you to live stronger, longer, and better. Now let's keep going with number 4, avocados. Let's turn our attention to a fruit that has been hailed as a modern-day superfood, avocados. With their rich, creamy texture and impressive nutrient profile, they've earned a reputation as a heart-healthy staple. You'll see them spread over toast at breakfast, blended into green smoothies, or sliced neatly into salads. For many, it feels like the perfect health food, full of potassium, fiber, and those beloved monounsaturated fats that support cardiovascular wellness. But here's a surprising twist that many seniors might not see coming. While avocados have their perks, they also carry hidden concerns that are easy to overlook. For older adults, this so-called miracle fruit can quietly lead to unintended weight gain, interfere with certain medications, and even trigger allergic reactions that weren't a problem in the past. Would you like me to continue with the next section on avocados? I can already imagine what you're thinking. Wait a second, aren't avocados supposed to be healthy? And you'd be right. Avocados do come with some impressive nutritional benefits. Their monounsaturated fats are well known for supporting heart health, and they're loaded with essential nutrients like potassium, folate, and vitamin E, which helps strengthen your immune system and protect your cells from oxidative stress. But here's the catch. For older adults, the story isn't quite so black and white. As our bodies age, the way we process food shifts. Metabolism slows, appetite changes, and what once was a healthy habit in our 40s might not serve us the same way in our 70s. That's why portion control, medication interactions, and individual tolerances become more important than ever. So let's peel back the layers, figuratively and literally, and take a closer look at why this trendy fruit might not always deserve its superfood status for seniors. Let's start with something many people overlook: calorie content. A single medium avocado, about 150 grams without the pit, contains roughly 240 calories. That's the caloric equivalent of a fast food cheeseburger or a filling bowl of oatmeal topped with fruit and nuts. For someone younger with a faster metabolism, that might not be a big deal. But for seniors, whose energy needs are often reduced to 1,600 to 2,000 calories a day depending on activity level, one avocado can eat up a significant portion of the daily limit. And that's before you add extras like toast, eggs, or olive oil, extras that make a healthy breakfast surprisingly high in calories. The problem isn't that avocados are inherently bad, it's that they're calorie-dense, and the impact adds up quickly if you're not careful. Just ask Robert, a 75-year-old retiree from Denver. After reading article after article praising avocados as the ultimate superfood, he decided to incorporate them into his daily routine. Every morning, he started his day with a slice of whole grain toast topped with half a mashed avocado and a sprinkle of sea salt. It felt like a smart choice, wholesome, trendy, and heart-healthy. Would you like me to continue with Robert's story and the rest of the avocado section? He topped the bread with a drizzle of olive oil and a dash of pepper. An upgrade, he thought, from his old go-to of butter and jam. It felt lighter, fresher, more heart-smart. For Robert, this felt like a lifestyle win, clean eating with a modern twist. But when he stepped on the scale 3 months later, he was stunned. He had gained 12 pounds, and it wasn't muscle. That extra weight didn't just affect his self-esteem, it had real physical consequences. His knees, already worn from decades of use, began aching more with every step. Everyday activities like walking to the mailbox or climbing stairs started to feel like chores. He described himself as feeling sluggish, like he was moving through quicksand. His energy had dipped, and he couldn't understand why. He hadn't changed anything else in his diet, or so he thought. During a routine checkup, he mentioned his weight gain to his doctor. They reviewed his eating habits, and when Robert described his new breakfast routine, the doctor paused. "You're eating nearly a full meal's worth of calories before 9 a.m., the doctor explained. And your metabolism doesn't work like it used to. Even healthy fats can work against you if they're more than your body needs." The American Heart Association has weighed in on this issue as well, emphasizing the importance of portion control, especially with high-fat foods like avocados. Yes, even the so-called good fats. As we age, our caloric needs decrease, and what once fueled us now risks tipping the scale toward unintended weight gain. But the concerns with avocados don't stop at the calorie count. There's a lesser-known but significant risk: interference with medications. Most seniors are on some form of medication, whether for blood pressure, heart conditions, or cholesterol management. What many don't realize is that avocados contain certain compounds, like vitamin K and specific plant enzymes, that can disrupt how these medications function in your body. Let's take a common example. Blood thinners like warfarin, often prescribed to help prevent strokes or dangerous blood clots. While crucial for heart health, these medications rely on a consistent balance of vitamin K to work properly. Avocados, being high in vitamin K, can throw off this balance. The result? Warfarin becomes less effective, and your risk of developing serious complications, like a stroke, rises quietly in the background. Likewise, certain blood pressure medications and antidepressants, particularly some SSRIs, can have their absorption affected by the fats and nutrients found in avocados. That means you might not be getting the full benefit of your medication, even though you're taking it consistently. And here's the kicker. This isn't the kind of thing most doctors will warn you about unless you ask directly. Unless you look your physician in the eye and say, "Will my avocado toast interfere with my prescriptions?" You might never get that crucial heads up. Now picture this. You've been faithfully taking your blood pressure medication every morning, assuming it's doing its job. But slowly, your readings begin to climb, and you can't figure out why. You've cut back on salt, you've stayed active, and you're keeping stress at bay. But then you remember that generous serving of guacamole at lunch, or the avocado slices you've been adding to your salad every day. Could that be the culprit? For many seniors managing chronic conditions like hypertension, heart disease, or mood disorders with daily medication, this kind of food-drug interaction is an invisible saboteur. That's why if you're on blood thinners, blood pressure medications, antidepressants, or other long-term prescriptions, it's worth having a quick conversation with your doctor or pharmacist. It doesn't take much to ensure your diet supports your treatment, not undermines it. But the concerns don't stop there. There's another issue with avocados that often catches seniors by surprise: late-onset allergies. You might be thinking, "I've been eating avocados for decades without a problem. How could I suddenly be allergic?" And that's a fair question. But the truth is, our immune systems evolve over time. As we age, we can develop sensitivities we never had before. In the case of avocados, the proteins they contain are very similar to those found in latex. This similarity can trigger a condition called latex fruit syndrome. If you've ever had a mild reaction to latex gloves, balloons, or medical supplies, you might already be at risk. Research suggests that approximately 6% of older adults show some degree of latex sensitivity, and for these individuals, avocados can quietly cause trouble. Reactions may include itching or swelling around the mouth, irritation in the throat, digestive upset, or even red, itchy skin after handling the fruit. These symptoms can be subtle at first and easy to dismiss, but they're your body's way of waving a red flag. And here's the unsettling reality. Allergies aren't fixed. You may have tolerated guacamole or avocado toast for years without a second thought, only to suddenly find your body reacting differently. That's why staying in tune with how you feel after eating and being willing to adapt your habits is so important as we grow older. And just like that, you could go decades enjoying a food only to develop a reaction in your 70s or 80s. Take Margaret, for instance, a 72-year-old retiree from Phoenix who had always loved her weekly avocado salad. It was her little ritual, something she genuinely looked forward to. But one afternoon, after finishing her usual bowl, she felt a strange tingling in her lips and a slight scratchiness in her throat. She brushed it off at first, thinking maybe it was the vinaigrette or a new seasoning in the dressing. But when it happened again the following week, this time a little more intense, she paid attention. Concerned, she made an appointment with an allergist. After some testing and a detailed history, the culprit became clear. Margaret's mild latex sensitivity, which she had always associated with her gardening gloves, had morphed into a food-related allergy. It had crossed over to include avocados. Her body, once tolerant, was now reacting to a fruit she had enjoyed for years. This serves as an important reminder. Just because your body tolerated something for a long time doesn't mean it always will. As we grow older, our immune system and digestion can become less predictable. What once felt completely safe might one day surprise you. So, does this mean avocados are now forbidden? Not necessarily. If you're someone who loves their creamy texture and rich taste, you don't have to say goodbye forever. But you do need to be smarter about how and when you eat them. Here's how to do that. Start by keeping your portions in check. Limit your serving to about a quarter of an avocado per day, which is roughly 60 calories. That's more than enough to enjoy the flavor without tipping the scales, figuratively or literally. Next, don't eat avocado on its own. Pair it with a source of protein, like a boiled egg, or combine it with fiber-rich vegetables. This slows down digestion, helps you feel fuller longer, and reduces the risk of a sudden calorie surge. And most importantly, double-check your medications. If you're taking blood thinners, blood pressure drugs, or antidepressants, bring up avocados with your doctor or pharmacist. It only takes a minute, but it could make all the difference in how your medications work. If all of this sounds like more trouble than it's worth, don't worry. There are safer alternatives that offer similar health benefits. A teaspoon of olive oil on your salad delivers heart-healthy fat and can be measured with precision, leaving no room for surprises. Or grab a small handful of walnuts or almonds. They're rich in nutrients, easy to portion, and unlikely to cause any conflict with your medications or digestion. They're easy to portion, they don't interfere with your medications, and they bring that satisfying crunch without the side effects hiding beneath the surface. But what's the real takeaway here? Avocados may be enjoying their moment in the spotlight as a beloved superfood, but for seniors, they're the perfect example of how even healthy choices can come with hidden strings attached. Whether it's the creeping calorie count that quietly adds inches to your waistline, the subtle interference with critical medications, or an allergy that develops out of the blue later in life, avocados deserve a second look. The solution isn't to banish them from your kitchen entirely. Instead, it's about approaching them with greater awareness, a measuring spoon in one hand, and perhaps a quick conversation with your doctor in the other. After all, staying healthy in your golden years isn't about chasing every new trend that makes headlines. It's about making informed, thoughtful decisions that respect your body's changing needs. Now, let's shift gears to a fruit that practically defines summer: watermelon. Just saying the word might bring back memories of picnics, sticky fingers, and that refreshing burst of sweetness on a hot afternoon. Watermelon feels like nature's gift for hot weather. It's hydrating, cool, and incredibly satisfying. No wonder it's a go-to snack for seniors trying to beat the heat. But here's where things get tricky. While it may seem harmless at first glance, watermelon can present unexpected risks for older adults, especially those dealing with certain health conditions. If you have heart issues, kidney disease, or struggle with blood sugar control, you'll want to pay attention. So, what's hiding beneath that juicy red flesh? Let's dig in and uncover the lesser-known dangers of this summertime favorite, and more importantly, how you can still enjoy it safely without putting your health on the line. Shall I continue with the explanation about how too much watermelon can impact hydration and health? Watermelon is made up of about 92% water, which on the surface sounds like a hydration victory. But for seniors, that high water content can be a double-edged sword. As we get older, the kidneys tend to lose their efficiency when it comes to processing fluids. That means eating large quantities of watermelon doesn't just quench your thirst. It can overwhelm your system. Instead of passing the extra water through the body as expected, seniors might experience fluid retention. Have you ever noticed swelling in your ankles, hands, or face after a big slice of watermelon? That puffiness could be your body holding on to excess fluid. But it doesn't stop there. Too much fluid can press against your lungs, making it harder to breathe, especially when lying down. It might even feel like someone is gently squeezing your chest. This additional pressure on the lungs and heart can also increase your blood pressure, as the heart has to work harder to circulate the extra volume of fluid. Let's take Betty's story as a cautionary tale. She's a 78-year-old retiree living in sunny Arizona. Wanting to stay cool and hydrated, she began eating watermelon every afternoon. At first, it seemed like a refreshing habit, but within a few days her feet began to swell, and she noticed she was constantly fatigued. One night, she woke up gasping for air. Alarmed, her family rushed her to the ER. Doctors found that the watermelon's high water content had overwhelmed her heart, leading to fluid buildup in her lungs. It was a stark reminder that even healthy choices can carry hidden risks. Now, consider those who are on diuretics, often referred to as water pills, to help manage conditions like heart failure or high blood pressure. These medications work by helping the body eliminate excess fluid. But if you're regularly consuming large amounts of watermelon, the fruit's natural water load may start working against your medication, leading to dangerous imbalances. And the surprises don't stop at water. Watermelon, though light and crisp in flavor, comes with another twist. It has a high glycemic index. That means it can spike your blood sugar rapidly, almost like drinking a sugary beverage. According to the American Diabetes Association, just 2 cups of watermelon are enough to send your glucose soaring. Shall I continue with the next section on blood sugar spikes and the hidden impact for diabetic seniors? A rapid spike in blood sugar levels may not seem like a big deal at first, but for seniors, especially those with diabetes or even pre-diabetes, it can have real consequences. That sugar rush from watermelon might give you a quick jolt of energy, but it's often followed by a crash that leaves you feeling drained, dizzy, or lightheaded. Have you ever gone from feeling upbeat to suddenly foggy or irritable after a snack? That's your body reacting to those ups and downs in glucose. These fluctuations don't just affect your energy. Blood sugar instability can wreak havoc on your mood, leading to unexpected swings in how you feel. And over time, repeated spikes put unnecessary strain on the body. They can worsen your ability to manage diabetes, and even if you're not currently diabetic, these constant sugar jolts can pave the way to insulin resistance, a warning sign on the road to type 2 diabetes. So while watermelon might taste innocent, its sweetness can carry hidden consequences. Now let's talk about something that often flies under the radar: potassium. Most people know watermelon is hydrating, but fewer realize that it's also packed with potassium. Normally, that's a good thing. Potassium is crucial for heart rhythm and muscle function. But when the kidneys aren't working as efficiently, too much potassium can become dangerous. Aging kidneys often struggle to remove excess potassium from the bloodstream. And when that buildup happens, the condition, known as hyperkalemia, can trigger a cascade of issues. Imagine dealing with an irregular heartbeat, unexplained muscle weakness, or suddenly feeling shaky and unstable on your feet. In severe cases, an overload of potassium can even lead to heart failure. It sounds dramatic, but it's a real and present risk. According to the National Kidney Foundation, nearly 40% of adults over 65 have some degree of kidney dysfunction, often without even knowing it. If your kidneys are already working harder than they should, adding potassium-rich foods like watermelon could quietly tip the balance into dangerous territory. Still love watermelon too much to say goodbye? You don't have to eliminate it entirely, but you do need to be careful. Keep portions modest. Half a cup is a safe bet. That's enough to enjoy the refreshing flavor without overwhelming your system. Consider pairing it with protein like a handful of almonds or fiber-rich foods like chia seeds to slow down sugar absorption and create a more balanced snack. Also, be mindful of timing. Eating watermelon late in the day can contribute to fluid buildup overnight, especially if you're already prone to swelling or shortness of breath. If you notice any signs like bloating, fatigue, or tightness in your chest after eating it, that's your body waving a red flag. Pay attention and adjust. Looking for safer ways to stay hydrated and satisfied? Try thin slices of cucumber in a glass of cold water. It's cooling, gentle on the system, and free of sugar and potassium overload. Or reach for frozen berries. Low on the glycemic index, easy to digest, and bursting with antioxidants. For a touch of watermelon flavor without the full risk, try infusing a pitcher of water with just a splash of juice and a few sprigs of mint. You'll get the essence of summer without overloading your system. So while watermelon might look like the perfect summertime fruit, for seniors it comes with strings attached. Watermelon might seem like the perfect guilt-free summer snack, light, refreshing, and naturally sweet. But for seniors, especially those managing heart issues, kidney concerns, or blood sugar imbalances, this beloved fruit deserves a second look. It's not about giving it up entirely, but about knowing the hidden risks and approaching it with caution. With mindful eating and portion control, you can still enjoy a slice of summer without compromising your health. If you're still watching and finding this information helpful, drop a comment with the number 1 to let me know you're here. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your support truly helps us continue creating content that empowers and informs. Now, let's shift our attention to another popular fruit that many seniors trust for digestive health: papayas. This tropical fruit is often praised for its ability to soothe the stomach, reduce inflammation, and promote gut health. Many older adults include papayas in their routine, thinking they're doing their digestion a favor. But here's the twist. Papayas, while beneficial in some ways, can also pose hidden risks, particularly for those over 65. Why? Because for seniors, papayas can lead to unintended complications, especially if you're on medication or have a more sensitive digestive system. It's one of those fruits that seem harmless on the surface, but can quietly interfere with how your body works behind the scenes. One of the biggest red flags is how papayas interact with medications. According to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, papayas have been found to interfere with the absorption and effectiveness of several common prescriptions used by older adults. These include blood thinners, diabetes medications, and even certain antibiotics. The root of this issue lies in an enzyme found in papayas called papain. This enzyme, while helpful in aiding digestion, can actually disrupt how your body processes some drugs. Papain can change how medications are broken down, absorbed, or distributed in your system, altering their intended effect. So you might be faithfully taking your medication every day, but if you're also consuming papaya, the therapeutic benefits of those meds might be significantly reduced. Seniors who take blood thinners, such as warfarin, should exercise serious caution when it comes to eating papayas regularly. Although they may appear to be a harmless tropical treat, papayas can actually intensify the effects of blood thinners, raising the risk of excessive bleeding. This becomes especially concerning for individuals who already have blood clotting disorders or are more prone to bruising. What seems like a fruit that supports digestion could quietly be undermining your medical regimen. And it doesn't stop there. If you're managing diabetes and taking glucose-lowering medications, papayas can also pose a significant challenge. The fruit can cause blood sugar levels to drop too low, too quickly. This might lead to unexpected dizziness, sudden weakness, confusion, or even fainting spells. Imagine feeling faint or disoriented, not realizing your healthy fruit habit is at the root of the problem. Let's take the case of Helen, a 71-year-old retiree living in San Diego. She had heard that papayas were excellent for digestion, so she made them a daily part of her breakfast. But after just a few weeks, Helen noticed something unusual. Her blood pressure readings started to climb, and the medication she relied on didn't seem to be working as well as it had before. Concerned, she visited her physician, who asked about any changes in her routine. When Helen mentioned her new papaya habit, the doctor immediately suspected a food-drug interaction. Sure enough, once she eliminated papayas from her diet, her blood pressure stabilized. That one small change made all the difference. It's a powerful reminder that even nutritious foods can have unintended consequences. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive to how different nutrients interact with medications. What might seem like a positive dietary addition could quietly sabotage your treatment plan if you're not paying close attention. Another surprising danger of papayas? Their link to latex allergies. Many people are unaware that papayas contain proteins similar to those found in natural latex. For seniors with existing latex sensitivities, often from years of exposure through gloves or medical supplies, this can trigger an allergic reaction. These reactions range from mild skin rashes or itching in the mouth to more severe symptoms like swelling or difficulty breathing. In extreme cases, it can even become life-threatening. What makes this risk particularly tricky is that many seniors don't realize they've developed a sensitivity. After all, you may have eaten papayas for years with no issue. But as the immune system changes with age, new allergies can develop out of the blue. What's especially concerning is that latex allergies can develop later in life, even if you've eaten papayas for decades without any problem. Just because your body tolerated them in your 50s or 60s doesn't mean it still will in your 70s or 80s. That's the tricky part with aging. Our immune responses shift, sometimes without warning. So, if you notice something off after eating a fruit you used to enjoy, like an itch in your throat or mild swelling around the mouth, don't brush it off. It could be your body sending a subtle warning. Isn't it better to stay alert than to face a full-blown allergic reaction? Now let's talk about another lesser-known issue: digestion. Papayas are often promoted as digestive heroes, thanks to an enzyme they contain called papain. This enzyme helps break down proteins and is often used to ease bloating or aid digestion after a heavy meal. But here's where things get a little more complicated for seniors. As we age, our stomach linings become more delicate. Many older adults already deal with sensitive digestion or chronic gastrointestinal issues. For them, that powerful enzyme in papaya might do more harm than good. Instead of helping, it may irritate the stomach lining, triggering unpleasant symptoms like gas, bloating, or even cramping. Some seniors also report that papaya worsens their acid reflux, especially if eaten on an empty stomach. Have you ever finished a meal with papaya only to feel uncomfortably full or gassy afterward? That could be your body signaling it's not tolerating it well anymore. This is particularly true for those with existing conditions like irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, or GERD. The natural enzymes and fiber in papaya, while beneficial in small amounts, can sometimes be too stimulating for aging digestive systems. Looking for ways to support your digestive health without the potential downsides of papaya? You have some excellent alternatives that are both gentle and effective. For instance, plain yogurt or kefir are wonderful options. They're packed with probiotics, the good bacteria that help keep your gut balanced and your digestion running smoothly. These can be especially helpful if you've had trouble with bloating or irregularity. Prefer something warm and soothing? Ginger tea might be just what you need. It's a time-tested remedy for calming the stomach and easing digestion. And if you enjoy a little zest in your meals, consider adding fermented vegetables like sauerkraut or kimchi. These are rich in beneficial bacteria that nourish your digestive system while adding great flavor to your plate. Still want to enjoy papaya? You don't necessarily have to give it up entirely, but you should be thoughtful about how you eat it. First, avoid eating papaya on an empty stomach. Doing so can increase the chance of stomach irritation, especially if your digestive lining is already sensitive. Think of it like throwing citrus on a paper cut. It's going to sting. Second, if you're currently taking medications, particularly for blood pressure, blood thinning, or diabetes, have a conversation with your doctor or pharmacist before regularly including papaya in your diet. Certain enzymes in papaya can interfere with how these medications are absorbed, potentially leading to unintended side effects. Start small, just a few bites at a time. Then pay close attention to how your body reacts. If you notice symptoms like dizziness, unusual fatigue, or stomach discomfort, it could be your body's way of saying, papaya isn't the right fit for you anymore. Now that we've taken a closer look at these 6 fruits, I'd love to hear from you. What was the most surprising insight you discovered today? Was there a fruit you thought was completely safe, only to learn it might need a second thought? Drop a comment below and share one small change you plan to make starting today. Whether it's choosing a new snack or rethinking an old habit, your story might just inspire someone else. If you found value in this video, please take a moment to like, comment, and share it with a friend or loved one who might benefit. And don't forget to subscribe to the Healthy Aging Blueprint YouTube channel so you never miss a tip that could protect your health. Wishing you continued health, happiness, and peace, and I'll see you in the next video.